Okay, today I wanted to talk to you about how to build a startup mode that is going to drive growth for your particular business. And what I have seen in 2024 is that there are very many startups who really struggle to get the right people on board. So today I want to share some of the challenges out there that many startups face, but at the same time I want to use this impact model to help you see a different perspective when it comes to your particular startup board and how you can really build one. Now let's start with some of the challenges which I was seeing, and the first challenge is limited resources. Now my dear friends, what's happened is that I have noticed, and obviously this is common with very many startups, is that they don't have that much resource when it comes to manpower, when it comes to equipment, when it comes to finance as well. So they are working with a very limited amount of resources, and they need to make these decisions based on those limited resources. That's the first challenge that I've seen. The second is lack of processes. And what's happened is that because of the ambiguity, there is this lot of systems and lack of coordination happens because flux of activities taking place, and the processes itself, they in many instances there are very many disconnects along the way. So that is another key challenge I've seen. The third challenge that I see, which is quite a big one, is founder dominance. And what do I mean by founder dominance is that there is this, in many instances what I've seen is that the founder makes all the decisions, and he or she doesn't really take all the perspectives into play, with good reason, because obviously the founder wants to really protect and secure the assets out there. But what happens is this creates an imbalance as well. Another challenge is this rapid growth and change. And what's happened is, because of the rapid growth and change that we are facing globally, and 2025 we are going to see even more growth and change. What's happening is trying to keep pace up with that, but at the same time making sure that the business operations and everything are running as per expectations. That is another key challenge. Now another big challenge is attracting and retaining talent, having the right fit. So this is a key challenge that very many face, and trying to get people coming in a startup is basically pretty difficult at the end of the day. And again, there are these budget constraints as well. Another challenge is balancing short term to long term. And what's happened is there's this uncertainty. This is about all the uncertainties out there, and trying to make decisions based on limited information. So that is a key challenge that I see very many face, because of the lack of all the processes in place, all the systems in place, but at the same time having the right information, having the right people, having the right talent, and that makes decision making pretty difficult. So what I want to do is, I now want to go into the steps to help you to make an impact, and I'll be using what is called an impact model, which obviously I've developed this particular model. But here's the thing, by the way, if you are liking this particular video, please like, subscribe, share it with your colleagues, because I'll be rolling out more impact driven videos on leadership and board excellence. Let's shift gears and move to these particular steps. The first one is intention. I stands for intention. And what do I mean by intention? Have a clear purpose and vision. My dear friends, if you take this point, I promise you, your particular startup is going to accelerate. And what I mean by intention is collective intentions at the top. Make sure you are on the same page, reading the same sentence. That is what I mean. Clarity is where the power is, clarity is where the impact is. So if you have that collective intentions in place with a compelling purpose, that in itself is going to make the difference in your particular startup. The other one, M stands for mindset. So mindset is about, rather than having an impatient mindset, have an urgency mindset, as I would say, which is open and growth driven. 80% is mindset, 20%, which is important, is your skills, competencies, experience, but 80% is mindset. So open up and eliminate any barriers that you have out there. So be very careful. It's all about your mindset. So work with your mindset, have an open mindset, which is adaptable, which is agile, and you will be able to work from that particular perspective. P stands for people. Now, my dear friends, you need to have diversity and also remote resources or people helping you in your particular startup. Because what's happened is that when you have the right people in place, you'll be able to have the right mix in place. And it doesn't need to be face to face all the time. You can have those remote elements coming and playing a key role in your particular business. And here's another thing I want to share with you when it comes to people, and that is that in order to attract the right talent, if you have a compelling purpose, and if you believe in that purpose, and if you have the influence and the impact that you make, you'll be able to attract the right people. So incentivize them as well, and you have to come up with an incentive package which is obviously a win-win for everybody. The A stands for accountability. My dear friends, make sure there are clear roles and responsibilities and clear communication and feedback mechanisms. This is another core element. You want to succeed, prepare from now. Make sure the communication is completely clear with all the feedback mechanisms. Having the right systems in place as well. Two things really matter: leadership and systems. Leadership is all about influence. Systems is all about making sure you connect all the dots internally as well as externally. C, my dear friends, stands for cost leadership. And cost leadership is all about making sure that you leverage your time, you leverage the resources, you leverage the people's time as well. So make sure you work on cost leadership, which means you need to also delegate and you need to step up the game. You can't be firefighting and you can't be overwhelmed, because you have to have the right building blocks to scale up your startup. So it's very important that you free your time, make sure you have the strategic vision. At the same time, you have a hands-on on the operations as well. As a startup, you might have to do that in the beginning. Now, before I go into T, which is traction, if you are interested, I've got an award-winning program which is become a high-performing director in 90 days, and it comes up with a subscription program which I'm giving at the moment, which is coming absolutely free for the time being. Check out the details in the link below. It's going to help you sharpen your competence. It will help you to sharpen your confidence, but at the same time it will give you the skills, it will give you the tools, it will give you the strategies to move to another level. Let's move to traction. Traction is where the nuances are. This is where I'm going to share with you some deep dive tools and strategies. So what you need to do first and foremost is relevance. Relevance comes from sharpening skills and competencies. So you need to make sure you work on your skills and competencies. This is in governance, this is in board level discussions, this is in leadership, this is in strategy, everything. So you have that in place. So make sure you sharpen your skills and competencies. The other key point I want to share with you, which is very powerful, and I've seen this with business. I've worked with businesses which have grown 20-fold. So I know what really works, and that is try having a strategy blueprint, which is just a one-pager, which has everything, the specific point of destination, as I call. And what I mean by that is have your end goals well articulated and defined in a one page. You can filter all the information. There would be back-end information for anything that you want for that particular strategy blueprint. But if you have that one pager, that in itself is your go-to place. It's going to be embedded not only in your particular DNA, but all the board members, everybody, your executive team as well. So have that strategy blueprint. The other thing is, as a leader, you need to be agile and adapt, like I mentioned earlier. You must make sure that you are agile, and you need to make those slight pivots now and again. You need to adapt to whatever the changing circumstances are. The economic uncertainties, rising costs, regulators, everything is going to really matter. So you need to really work on those particular mechanisms. Another key element is make sure you have policies and procedures. And by the way, I'll be doing another video on policies, because I'm a policy governance consultant, and I think there are under 300 worldwide trained by Dr. John Carvel, and I'm one of them. So I'm going to do another complete, holistic, coherent, system-based video on how you can, work with these policies and procedures in place. But my point here is have live policies, and these don't need to be pages and pages. When I work with companies, I call them blueprints. I don't call them policies. They love the word blueprint. So it depends what you want to call it, so long as you've got the right elements and insights in those particular policies, which is going to help you to move to another level altogether. Another key point under traction is succession planning. No matter what you're doing, you need to have the bench strength, you need to have the right pipeline, you need to have the right people, and you need to have the right successes in place. So your procedures matter, but at the same time, you need to have the right people who are going to go with you in your particular movement. So make sure you work on that. And the final point I want to share with you is link long-term to short-term. Always link your long-term goals with your short-term. Whatever decisions you make, have a curious mindset, asking a lot of questions, incisive questions. So, just make sure that whatever decision you make, what does it mean for the long term? So that's what you really need to look into it. Have some contingencies as well in place. So you need to work on having some contingencies in place, so that if there are certain experiments, or if there are certain risky road bumps, as I put it, as you move forward, then you'll be able to mitigate those risks. So my dear friends, look, I hope you found some value from this particular video. Like I said, if you like this particular video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your colleagues, because I'll be sharing more insight-driven videos in the future. And thank you very much for joining. I'll see you in the next video.